Kentucky's had a lot of really bad injury luck for a long time now, but great news. Kentucky's best defender is on pace to be fully healthy before the start of the season.
You are Locked On Kentucky, your daily podcast on the Kentucky Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, what's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome on into Locked On Kentucky, your daily Kentucky Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Lance Dawe, and on today's episode of Locked On Kentucky, we are going to be discussing the latest with Jayden Quaintance and his injury. Recently went on the Aaron Torres podcast and explained that, he's looking to be ready before the start of the season. Going to talk about why this is such big news for Kentucky. Also on today's episode, Kentucky-Louisville. The rivalry is moving up in the schedule, and I am not a fan of this at all. Going to be breaking that down as well as Kentucky's non-conference schedule as it currently stands. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. You can download the Game Time app. You can create an account. You can use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On Kentucky your first listen every single day. Want to remind everyone out there that we are free and available on all platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, would greatly appreciate it if you subscribed to the show, and if you're listening on podcast, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed there as well. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Jayden Quaintance is expected to be ready to play by about mid-September, at least according to what he had to say on the Aaron Torres podcast recently. He had an interview with Aaron Torres and told him that he's trying to get fully healthy and fully back by September. Direct quote here: "I'm trying to get fully back by September, playing like full contact playing by September." So that's the goal so far. Just trying to stay on pace for that. In case you didn't know the specifics about the injury, he's trying to rehab from an ACL surgery that he had. I believe he missed the final almost third of Arizona State's regular season because of an injury that he sustained. And he was asked by Torres if Quaintance will be ready for the first part of the season, barring any sort of setbacks, and he said definitely for sure. This is huge for Kentucky for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, you guys know, if you watched the Wildcats for any amount of time last season, you know, hey, the roster plays better whenever it's fully healthy. No duh. Any college basketball roster in America will play better if all of their players are fully healthy and available to go out there and compete. Unfortunately, Kentucky did not have the opportunity to trot out a healthy lineup for almost all of last season, and it really did hurt them in some important games where they were objectively better, in my opinion, than their opponent. They just didn't have all of the horses to go out there and win the game. Having Jayden Quaintance ready for what is going to be a very difficult non-con slate, which we will get to here later in the show, it's going to be good. It's going to be very good to have everybody back, everybody fully healthy and ready to go early in this non-con slate. And look, even if he's not ready by the first game of the season, second game of the season, maybe Kentucky doesn't even start him. Maybe they let him rest those first couple of games because it'll probably be somebody like an NC Upstate or something like that, or NC Central, or some random mid-major school that Kentucky will play before they actually go and play somebody like Louisville, which, again, we'll get into that later in the show, but maybe they rest him. Maybe they let him sit out regardless. I think that he's going to be fully ready by the time the important games get here, and that's crucial. We saw it last season, and I think we're going to see it again this year. Kids staying healthy is really important. Props to Mark Pope for going out and getting a bunch of depth here at the center position. But look, Jayden Quaintance is your best defender. There's no bones about that. He is going to be one of the best defenders in this conference, and might be the best defender in this conference, and he might be the best defender in all of college basketball this upcoming season. Keeping him healthy and making sure that he's ready to go is crucial to Kentucky's success. He is a legit lottery pick. with some insane athleticism, an insane wingspan, great shot blocking skills, great shot altering skills with some handles and the ability, I think, to grow even further as an overall complete player in Mark Pope's system, his offense, the way that he likes to do things. And Quaintance has actually said as much. He said, I think that Mark Pope, he allows his guys to shoot a lot more. He gives a lot more, I think, creativity and freedom in what he likes to do, and that he didn't even really scratch the surface of what he's capable of as a shooter last season at Arizona State, which we can get into that another time. But I think that Quaintance not being ready and what he can contribute as a healthy player is massive for Kentucky basketball. All right, I want to continue along here talking about why this Kentucky-Louisville game is moving up. I really don't understand what's going on here. Maybe you guys can explain it to me a little bit better. Hopefully, Quaintance is ready to go by the time this Louisville game is here, because they will 1,000% need him. Going to break this one down here in just a second. Before we do it, though, tell you guys about our friends over at Game Time. There is nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. It's every bucket, every defensive stop, every single moment feels huge. If you're a Knicks fan like me, you've gotten to see some huge fourth quarter comebacks here over these last two games, with Jalen Brunson being the catalyst in both. It's electric in the arena, and with Game Time, you can be a part of that without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high, and prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. You don't have to just get NBA playoff tickets, by the way. Game Time gets you tickets for comedy, theater, concerts, any sporting event, and I'll just go ahead and tell you guys right now, literally earlier today, Wednesday, May 7th, my brother is a huge fan of the Ole Miss Rebels, and he wanted to go to a game. I wanted to go to a game with him, and so earlier today, I got tickets to an Ole Miss game later this year, and it is literally the cheapest you could possibly find on the internet. It was fast. It was easy. The all-in pricing let me know up front, hey, I know what the fees are going to be. I'm not confused about what I'm getting here. It's very straightforward. It's honest. It's the cheapest out there. The photos are incredible for the seats. And I'll just go ahead and tell you, as someone who's been to the venue before, the actual seats in person are even better. Game Time is the place that you need to go to literally get any of your tickets. I use it for concerts. I use it for sporting events. I use it for Kentucky football, which I've already got some tickets lined up for that later this year as well. You need to take the guesswork out of buying your tickets for anything by using Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Got that in, by the way, earlier whenever I was getting tickets. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, continuing along here on the Wednesday edition of Locked On Kentucky. Lance Dawe hanging out here with you. I really appreciate you guys checking out the show today. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel or the podcast feed, I would greatly appreciate it if you did so. Talked about Jayden Quaintance, how he expects to be ready before the season opener, expects to be playing full contact in practice by September, which means he's got a whole month and a half to practice with this team, fully ready before the season opener comes along. So he should be ready. He's on pace right now to be ready for it. He needs to be ready for that Louisville game. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it has been moved up. According to multiple sources, you can find this more specific details over at KSR. I think A Sea of Blue have also released something about this. UK announced Wednesday morning that the Kentucky Wildcats and Louisville Cardinals will go head-to-head much earlier than usual. The matchup's going to be scheduled for Tuesday, not Saturday. Tuesday, November 11th, inside the KFC Yum Center. This is going to be at Louisville. The rivalry series has traditionally been held in December, but the in-state battle has been moved up early in the regular season for what could be a top 10 showdown. I would expect it to be a top 10 showdown because, frankly, neither of these teams are going to have the opportunity to play any legit competition before they play each other. Tip-off's not been announced yet. Kentucky's regular season begins the week before on November 4th. So you're going to see Kentucky probably play two no-name schools, all due respect to who those schools are going to be. Kentucky on paper is just going to be a lot more prominent, a lot better than them. If they lose, whatever, we'll get to that. It's not an arrogance thing. It's just reality for anyone out there wondering. You're going to get 2 of those, and you're going to get thrown right into the fire against your biggest rival. I do not understand this move at all. I cannot rationalize this one in my head. According to Corey Price, by the way, at CoreyP08 on Twitter, really good source of UK information, statistician. He says this upcoming season's game between Kentucky men's basketball and Louisville will be the earliest that it has ever been played. The game has been played in the month of November just twice before. Once on November 26th in 1983 and once on November 27th in 1993. I'm asking you guys, make this make sense for me. I don't think that it's a good idea to play the game right before the football game is played. That makes no sense to me. I think that's stupid. You need to make them their separate events. They need to be their own things. And you may say, well, you're trying to get the football crowd in with the basketball. You don't need the football crowd for the basketball crowd. This is Kentucky-Louisville. Are you kidding me? Who cares? You're going to draw an audience, whether you like it or not. You're going to get attention on this, especially if these two teams are as good as we think they're going to be this season. Right now, Kentucky on the road against the Cards should be an incredibly competitive and fun game. A game that Louisville could absolutely win. They could have won the one last year 1,000%. This should be a great game, and if you play it in December or late December like you did last year, who cares? Or mid-December, I should say. Who cares about the football crowd? You're going to get recognition from ESPN. You're going to get it from the fans that actually wanted to come to the game. It doesn't matter that it's in, make it its own thing. That's what I'm so upset about. Make it its own thing. Instead of trying to lump it in the middle of football season, it's going to take away from it. It's going to be overshadowed by college football. Does it bring more revenue? I don't really understand how it could. Again, it's its own thing against 2 likely top 10, top 15 type teams that are going to have great squads. Why on earth do we need to move it to November? And I saw the explanation of Louisville already had some things scheduled out for December with them playing in some classic or some tournament or something like that, and it would be difficult. It would be difficult for them to play Kentucky. It would be difficult for them to play their biggest rival. It'd be difficult, so let's just throw it as that's the first meaningful game of the season in the middle of football season. Let's do that instead. Explain this one to me, guys, because I don't get it at all. Why would we move this up? Why would we move this up? It was its own thing in December after the teams had a little bit under their belt. In my opinion, it brings more to the table to look up and go, oh, these teams are 7-1 or 8-0 or whatever it may be, and we're coming into the KFC Yum Center, and Pat Kelsey's squad, wouldn't you know it, is much better at shooting the 3 this season. They're coming in against a Kentucky squad that's got a little bit more of an edge to them, a little bit more physical. Maybe they've lost some of the luster on offense. Maybe they're still trying to tool some things together, but man, they are uber athletic as they once were, and they are rolling. I'd love to see a matchup between 2 top 10 squads that have already proven themselves a little bit. That's what this series has always been. This is a bad idea, in my opinion, and frankly, if it's just simply catering to the fact that Louisville couldn't schedule things properly, as a Kentucky fan, I scoff at that. I feel like, screw that. This is our rivalry. This is not you getting to dictate when you get our butt whipped, when you get a butt whipping from us. This is not you deciding, when do I want to lose to Kentucky this year? Let's do it at the beginning of the year when no one's watching. Screw that. Screw that. No, it makes no sense to me. I feel like any rational explanation can be done away with the fact that why? It was perfectly fine the way it was. That's what it comes back to. That's what I come back to with this, is that it was perfectly fine the way it was. And if this is the way that you want to do it for every year moving forward, that sucks. In the past, we had Kentucky playing in State Farm Champions Classic earlier in the year. We have them going to play themselves in tournaments like they used to do back in the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Why can't we get back to that? Instead, I think we're screwing up a perfectly good thing. Makes no sense to me. Make it make sense, guys. All right, I want to wrap up the show talking about Kentucky's non-conference slate as a whole because, guys, it's pretty good. It's a pretty difficult slate that Kentucky has got on tap. Before we dive into it, though, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Amazon Fire TV 4K. Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? You can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles with EA Sports, College Football 25, all the way to Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. You can head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. All right, wrapping up the Wednesday edition of Locked On Kentucky. Pause for water here as we wind down with an update for Kentucky basketball's non-conference schedule. I don't think we've really gotten a chance to talk about this at length. But gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, October 24th, Kentucky has an exhibition game scheduled. We talked about this a little bit on yesterday's show, but I want to give it its fair due. Kentucky's got a game October 24th. Against Purdue in Rupp Arena. Exhibition in Rupp Arena against the Purdue Boilermakers. If that doesn't get you hyped up with me just saying, oh, we don't even have to talk storylines. We don't even have to talk about the game. We could just, we've got a top 5, top 3 team walking into Rupp Arena. We don't even have to talk about how these two teams may match up. Who cares? It's probably going to be like number 1 versus number 7 in Rupp. Non-conference number 1 or number 2 in Rupp. And the best part about this, in my opinion, is it doesn't matter. It doesn't count towards anything. I love that a lot. To be able to bring one of the best teams in all of college basketball to Rupp Arena. And if you win, awesome. But regardless of if you win or lose, you've got a game under your belt against some of the best competition you could find. And you will be better prepared for what the rest of your slate brings you. I think this is true for both teams. I absolutely love this. This is awesome. I cannot wait to watch this game. I think it's going to be super fun, but it's going to be like number 1, number 7 preseason exhibition. The crowd is going to be insane for it. Do you remember last year? I think it was 2 years ago when Tennessee went on the road and played at Michigan State for an exhibition. Oh my gosh, that was awesome. That was a great environment. This is going to be about 5 times better than that. 5 times better. Get ready for it. November 11th. Like I mentioned, you're playing Louisville in the KFC Yum Center on the road against the Cards, who are also probably going to have a top 10 squad as well. It's going to be a really good team, guys. Pat Kelsey is a good coach. This is going to be a very tough game. Louisville's kind of thin in the front court, but man, they've got some uber talented guys in their backcourt. It's going to be tough. November 18th, State Farm Champions Classic in New York. You've got Michigan State Champions Classic in New York, The Wolverines with Dusty May. If they've got Yaxel, that'll be a very fun matchup between Yaxel, Quaintance, Garrison, whoever else Kentucky throws in their extremely loaded front court. That's going to be a really fun game. That's just a week after playing Louisville. And that's what? 16 days after playing, 16 days after playing Purdue. You get probably 3 top 15, top 10 squads back to back to back with maybe some little mid-major sprinkled in there, but still tough. December 5th In Nashville, you get to play Gonzaga, who is reloading. That's going to be a really fun game. A team that you found a way to beat last year. Maybe if you have some better rim protection this year, can you get away with another one against the best team in the WCC? And then December 13th. Another team that should be a top 15, top 10 type squad. You welcome in another Big Ten school to Rupp Arena, the Indiana Hoosiers. Indiana's brought in 10 transfer portal pieces, some of them that Kentucky really wanted. Lamar Wilkerson, most notably. Reed Bailey being another one that I thought would have been fun. This is a good Indiana squad. Man, Purdue, Louisville, Michigan, Gonzaga, Indiana. Oh, by the way, December 20th, you get to play St. John's in Atlanta. Rick Pitino versus his former player in Mark Pope, both having coached at Kentucky, one of them having played there, throwing down against each other in the CBS Sports Classic in Atlanta. How fun is that one going to be? Just to cap off what is an incredible non-con slate. You also have December 23rd versus Bellarmine in Rupp Arena. You also have NC Central at some point, date to be determined. Oh, and if Purdue, Louisville, Michigan, Gonzaga, Indiana, and St. John's weren't enough, you're going to be playing in the SEC ACC Challenge in Rupp Arena, and you're going to be playing either probably Duke or North Carolina. Have fun. I'm ready for it, man. This is going to be one of the toughest non-conference schedules, if not the toughest in the country this upcoming season. I'm ready for it. I think this team is going to be very special, and I cannot wait to see how they perform. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Kentucky. You can follow the show on Twitter at Locked On UK. You can follow me on Twitter at LanceDawe_, and follow the show over on Instagram. That is at Kentucky Podcast. Any questions, comments, concerns, leave those in the YouTube comments below. Hit me on the socials. I will see you all tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Kentucky. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and God bless.